Hi there, welcome to QA Box Let's Test. And now we are starting a series on Cypress. And in this series, we are going to work on 5.4.0 version of Cypress because that's the latest version as I'm recording the video. So the web has evolved, finally testing has too. This is the code given by Cypress itself. So for years, we have been following MVC architecture and have server rendered pages. In the .NET world, some common choices are either regular ASP.NET templates or Razor templates for web pages to be served from a web application. Similarly, in the Java world, we have access to technologies such as JSP, JSTL, FreeMarker, Velocity, Mustache, ThemeLeaf, JSF, and many more. But these days, we have specialized libraries to build front and back ends of the applications. The modern web applications are responsive, communicative using chatbots, and built on material design. Some example of modern front-end JavaScript frameworks are React, Angular, Vue, Elm, etc. For backend, we use ASP.NET Core, Spring Boot, Django, Node Express, etc. Cypress can be used to test anything that runs in a browser. Cypress can handle modern JavaScript frameworks like React, Angular, Vue, Elm, etc. really well. It also works equally well on older server-rendered pages or applications. In terms of its demand, today it's 21st of October and this is what I've downloaded from the GitHub page of Cypress, and you could see the number of downloads per month and per week. In terms of its components, so basically there are two components. One is test runner, the other is dashboard service. So test runner is open source and dashboard service is a paid one. So Cypress test runner facilitates running your test in a browser. Dashboard service is a web application that gives insight into the test runs in continuous integration, including video recording, screenshots, and logs. So to find out more on pricing, go and check this link out. So there you will find on what basis the pricing differs. So basically, therein you will see um, users, test recording per month, support. These are the three things based on which they have different plans available. All right, Cypress demand in past 2 years. You could see that it is only growing. All right, so this may be the future of testing. Now let's talk about the Cypress features. Time travel. Cypress takes snapshots as the test run. Command log, which is a component in the Cypress test runner UI, and when we simply hover over the commands in there, you could see that what actually has happened at each step. Real-time reload. Cypress is intelligent enough to know that after updating a test file, you are going to run it again. So it automatically triggers the run as soon as you press to save your file. Hence, there is no need to manually trigger the run. Automatic waiting, and very helpful if you have been working on UI automation. You know how painful it is to sync your test code with your application code. Cypress automatically waits for the DOM to load, elements to become visible, the animation to be completed, the XHR and AJAX calls to be finished, and much more. And this automatic waiting is applied to both Cypress commands and assertions. And therefore, there is no need to define implicit and explicit waits. Screenshots and videos. Cypress has the feature of capturing screenshots and videos internally without requiring any help of any external resource, libraries, or third party tools. Cypress can run in both UI and headless mode. When run headlessly, screenshots are taken automatically on failure and entire test suite execution is taped. Also, taking screenshot through command is a piece of cake. All we have to do is we have to say cy.screenshot. That is all it takes. Now you can take the screenshot of the complete DOM, means the document, or you can also take a screenshot of a specific web element. Isn't that cool? Network traffic control. Because of the architecture of Cypress, it can stub network traffic however you like. Spice, stubs, and clocks. Since we can also do unit testing using Cypress, it offers quite a lot from unit testing sphere. We can verify and control the behavior of a function, server responses, or timers. Cypress accommodates the use of spice and stubs to verify or control the behavior of function. For instance, when developers want to test the failure path of an application, they can use a stub to force things to fail. Cypress also provides user the ability to control the date and time of their application in order to prevent slow tests. Debuggability. No need to guess why a test failed. We can debug directly from the familiar tools like Chrome DevTools. Cypress also display readable errors and stack traces to make debuggability really fast. So it also gives us the hint to fix certain kind of issues. We also have a pretty simple command which is cy.debug, through which we can debug the flow of our application. Consistent result. Because of all these available features and there is no network lag, which we are going to understand in the architecture of Cypress, it always generates the consistent results. Now Cypress can be used for doing unit testing, integration testing, and end-to-end flow testing. And who all can use Cypress? Obvious. Developers, because they do unit and integration testing, and QA, because they do end-to-end UI testing. Now supported browsers. So Cypress has the capability to run tests across multiple browsers. Currently, Cypress has support for Chrome family browsers, which includes Electron and Chromium-based Microsoft Edge, and Firefox. Excluding Electron, any browser you want to run Cypress test in needs to be installed on your local system or CI environment. Now what about Safari and mobile browsers? So currently Cypress does not support these kind of browsers, but they say that they are going to support these browsers in future, and this particular screenshot is being taken from the GitHub page of Cypress. So they are tracking this under issue number 310. So you can go and read more about it there. Architecture. So Selenium is currently the most used web automation testing framework. Is Cypress better than Selenium WebDriver? That's a question everybody's raising. Well, I will not take that path instead, and I'll try and explain how is Cypress different from Selenium WebDriver. So what you're seeing on the screen is the architecture of Selenium WebDriver, and you see that there are 4 different components. Selenium language binding, this one, then JSON wire protocol, then these are our browser drivers. These are real browsers. I read somewhere that in future this component would be either obsoleted or would be replaced by something else. So let's understand each of these one by one. So Selenium client library, this one, right, consists of languages like Java, Ruby, Python, C Sharp, and so on. So we are going to write our test cases using these languages. right? So after the test cases are triggered, entire Selenium code will be converted to JSON. So JSON wire protocol generated JSON is made available to browser drivers, right? To this one. Because this follows the client and server. So here is the client and this is the server, and the transformation, right, the exchange between client and server is being done by JSON wire protocol. So now each browser, as you could see, that this is uh, the Gecko driver, which is for the corresponding Firefox browser. Same way you have Chrome driver, which is for Chrome, and same way IE driver for IE and Safari driver for Safari, and so on. So each browser has a specific browser driver. Browser drivers communicate with its respective browser and executes the command by interpreting JSON which they receive from the browser. As soon as the browser driver gets any instruction, they run them on the browser. Then the response is given back in the form of HTTP. Okay, so here the response is given back, and then again this JSON wire protocol comes into picture, and now the control is into the client side. All right. So actual browser we already talked about, right? So Selenium supports multiple browsers such as Firefox, Chrome, IE, Safari, etc. So this is the basic on Selenium architecture. Now let's see the architecture of Cypress, and the image that you're going to see next I have copied from again this particular issue number GitHub Cypress thing, and people mention that this is being provided by Dominic M. So thanks Dominic, it's a great image. So this is the architecture diagram of Cypress. So Cypress is sitting in the browser itself, right? So you could see that this is your browser, and they are basically two frames. One is for Cypress test, and another is for the application. Okay, and there's a continuous flow happening between these two frames. So Cypress is connected with the Node.js. So this is your Node.js. Cypress is also connected with Node.js using a proxy. The Node server and Cypress interacts constantly, adjusts and executes actions in support of each other. Thus, Cypress has access to both front end and back end of the application. This helps it to act on the real-time incident on the application because Cypress can access DOM, Windows object, local storage, network layer, browser DevTools, and so on. And at the same time, execute tasks outside of the browser that need greater privileges, like recording videos, capturing screenshots, basic file system, and network-related applications. So in the next slide, we're going to see that I've taken this screenshot from a test run to show those two frames to you. So here you could see that this is the first frame, this is the second frame. So first frame is for application under test, second frame is for the Cypress, and this is basically nothing. It's a test runner of Cypress. This is the command log, and this is the playground app. So here is your application, and you could see that you have got access to the developers toolbar. Right. So ecosystem. Let's understand this. So before Cypress and after Cypress. So whenever you do any kind of automation testing, you have to assemble a lot of different moving parts so that you have a working automation system ready. That is not the case with Cypress. Cypress is all in one, because writing end-to-end test takes a lot of different tools to work together. With Cypress, you get multiple tools in one. There is no need to install 10 separate tools and libraries to get your test suite set up. Cypress has taken some of the best-in-class tools you are likely already familiar with and made them all work together seamlessly. So as you could see, this is the assertion library, then this is the test framework, Selenium wrapper, Selenium server, and all these things. This is before Cypress. With Cypress, just write one command npm install Cypress and it's done. Everything would be downloaded fast for you. All right. Now, what is the prerequisite to learn Cypress? Cypress relies heavily on jQuery. Okay, and JavaScript is the only language in which you can write your test cases, or you can say that Cypress supports today. Okay, you can definitely use TypeScript because ultimately the TypeScript is also transpiled into JavaScript. All right. So now what all things you need to learn to master Cypress, and you can run it along with Cypress. But of course, I mean, if you want to get better hold on Cypress, you have to make sure that you understand all these prerequisite things, because at time what happens is, the problem is the way you are using Cypress and not in Cypress itself. Okay, so language, first one is JavaScript. Framework, Mocha. All right. Assertions, so Cypress uses Chai, right, for normal assertion. Then for Synon is used for doing the unit testing, where you can use test doubles, because Synon offers test doubles like spice, stub, and mocks. And then Chai jQuery to assert the DOM. Element locators, so Cypress basically, because it has bundled up jQuery, so it supports jQuery selectors, but then those jQuery selectors are basically dependent upon CSS selectors and with the help of plugin, right? So Cypress does not provide support for XPath out of the box, so you have to install a plugin to be able to use XPath. Okay, so element methods. Now at times what happens is, when you identify an element, you get a collection back. So then how are you going to iterate over the collection? So for that, you could see these are some methods like, find children, first, last, equal, previous, and so on, right? So these are the methods. So report, we are going to use Mocha some reporter. Then some node basics, like how to set up the project, import and export modules, jsconfig.json file, what is package.json, and so on. And then since you can stop the backend request like XHR request, so it's always good, if you know the basic concepts of APIs, and also the web, like what is a window object, what is a document object, and so on. So don't you worry, this list seems long, but I've already created videos on all of these, so I've done all the hard work already for you. So on my channel you will find the series JavaScript tutorial for beginners, which will cover variables till all the OOPS concepts, because at the end of the series we are going to create the framework, and they will create classes, and then all these concepts would be handy. And also, like async code is confusing to beginners or people who have only used programming languages which offer just the same code. So already created video on that. Now extensively created videos on Mocha framework. So this is the series that you have to watch, and in that I've explained everything in detail already regarding these assertions library, Chai, jQuery, and Synon. Okay, so this is about the assertion. Element locator, I've created videos on CSS. I've created videos on jQuery, find UI elements, and also created videos on events. Then I've created video series on master XPath for UI automation, already done for you. Element methods, again I've covered all these methods in my video on jQuery UI elements. Reporters, again this is already covered into JavaScript test framework, part 7. Node basics, right? So you'll find all these helpful tips and tricks there. And then I've already created videos on important API testing concept, API testing 101. And if you want to learn API testing using Postman, because when you are doing the API testing using Cypress and you're stuck somewhere, then Postman is a great tool. So you can set up your request and then try it from there. If it works there, then you can see, okay, hey, maybe you're not sending data in a proper format in Cypress, right? So let's start with the installation. So what all things we require? We need to have the node installed onto our system. We also require Visual Studio Code. So open your browser and look out for this link. From here you can download the latest version of Node. People who already have Node installed on their system, but their version is not 12, so install the latest version, because Cypress also provide a playground app which you can use to explore more features about Cypress, and that app requires you to have version 12 installed on your system. Then we have got this Visual Studio Code. It's again free, so you can download it from here depending upon whatever operating system you're working on. Let us now begin with the installation part of Cypress. Okay, so open your command prompt, okay, and create a directory. We're going to say Cypress demo. Okay, let's create this directory, move into that directory. Okay, and all you have to do is npm init -y. That's it. All right, so a project is created for you. Let's open that project in Visual Studio Code, and for that you have to use this command code space dot and enter. That is going to launch your Visual Studio. Okay, so the package.json is there. Great. Open your terminal. This is an integrated terminal that is available in Visual Studio Code. And now here what you have to do is you have to say npm I, and you have to say Cypress. Let's wait for some time. This is going to download the latest version of Cypress, which is going to be 5.4. All right, so now you could see that in the package.json we have an entry for Cypress. So next thing that we have to do is we have to update this command, but let's first understand where we have this Cypress. So we have this node module, and inside that you have the .bin, and then you have got this Cypress. So let's do that. So we node modules .bin Cypress, and then this is the command, right? So when you do the enter, so you're going to get this. It looks like this is your first time, so let's wait for this to be completed. Okay, so now you see that the Cypress test runner is being launched, and out of the box it's also provide you some sample test cases. And let's maximize this, and if you click on this you will see all the different options that are available. But like I mentioned, make sure that you have these um, browsers first installed onto your system. All right, so great. Now let us execute one of the test cases and see. So all you have to do is you can click here, but then this is going to run all the specs. So just click on one. So this is your command log section. This is a command log section, and here this is your actual application. So let's wait for this test to be completed. And you could also see that how fast it is. Okay, and let's see the time traveling thing now. So you click on this and you see, what's being happening at that point of time when the execution happened. Okay, so you could simply see that now this is the type command, right? Okay, now you could see that before and after the email thing. Okay, so we have the focus in here. So if we come here, okay, so before it's empty and after you could see that it's being typed. So that's called basically time traveling. All right, let's close this. So you can close it from here, or you could also do it from here. You could see Control C and Y for yes. That is going to terminate it. Okay, now let's see what all we have. So we have this new folder being added for us. Okay, and we are going to understand this structure in the next video. So now rather than writing the same command again and again, let's do one thing. So open the package.json, come to the script object in package.json, and herein type Cypress open. Okay, save this and come to the terminal and type npm test. Now let's wait for Cypress test runner to open up. Alright, so the test runner is opened. Let's close this. So going forward, we are going to write this command npm test in the terminal. So we have covered the Cypress installation and we have added the script as well. Now let's look at the Cypress sample app. So what you need to do, you need to download Yarn onto your system and you have to download the sample app from GitHub. Alright, so you can download Yarn from here onto your machine. Download installer, I've already done it. Download and install it. Once this is done, this is from where you can download the Cypress real world app. And it looks something like this. Okay, so I've already downloaded that. So let me open that. So now the app is open in Visual Studio, and the way you are going to run is you are going to execute this. So if you have this npm script in here, you just have to click on this. So I'm going to start it by clicking on this button. This is the app which would be launched for you. Now you require the username and password, and for that, on this page itself, click on this example app users, which will open up the list of users. You can pick any user from this list. So username. So I picked this one. Now what is the password? This is going to be the password. Okay. So enter that in here. Click on the sign in button and this is your app. So you have Cypress installed. You also have this app. And Cypress has already automated this app. So you can, for best practices, also look at the test that Cypress has written for this application. So for that, again, let's move to our Visual Studio. In here, open this Cypress. Under the test, you have API test written using describe and it, and you also have the UI test. Okay, so they have used TS, which is TypeScript, which is eventually transpiled into JavaScript. So app is also done. Thank you so much. In the next video, I'll cover the folder structure of Cypress. Thank you so much.